info page, we'll see here, of course, it says AKAI MPC. Doesn't say plus there, but it says MPC OS. Okay, the operating system is in the machine. So we need to know what the firmware update is up to, right? So here we are, MPC firmware 2.12.2. The same that would be in your computer, if using computer 2 as well. This is the latest operating system as of this video. Okay, so here, this is our serial number of the machine. So if you got a problem, you want to call AKAI, get some help from AKAI MPC guys, that's what you're going to have right there. This is the control surface, and this is version 1.00. Now, if I have settings in here, I got this machine used, we'll say, and I'm not too sure what's going on with it, I suggest that you actually come to here, you press this reset settings. Right here it says, are you sure you wish to reset all your settings? Now, if you do, just press OK. I'll go back here, leave that, cancel that out. But if you don't want to keep them, do it. Now, right here, we have to update. Now, from time to time, AKAI will have an update come out. And the beauty of actually having this machine is that we have Wi-Fi and we have Ethernet and Bluetooth. On the MPC ONE PLUS, there's no Ethernet, there's Wi-Fi. Okay? So it makes it easier. And then we have Bluetooth here as well, which we're not using right now. So if I come here and do update, I say online update. I can update online with this machine. Start from the bottom. Switch to update mode. Boom. If I go to update mode, that means my MPC is plugged up to my computer. I have the software on my computer, and in update mode, I would just turn the software on, here on my MPC, make sure I have a USB cable plugged in. So I've got one plugged in here, into the back, there's the other end of it, and this end here would go into my computer. And then I would just open that update software, and then I would just tell the MPC I'm going to do a firmware update. We'll cancel this out. Now here, I go here again, under update, we have USB drive update, right? So I have a hard drive in here actually, and I have actually the file here also as well, which is a USB card. And I come to here, and I have this card here. I can put it on here too as well, on this card. This card is unique, because I will get a card like this, and I will open it up like this. Grab this thing so you can see this. So I got a card in there already, and I'll pull this card out. Okay? That's a card. That's 128. I put it in here, so I can always change the card, get a brand new card like that, and put it back into this little holder. I'll put it back into my MPC ONE PLUS. I didn't eject it properly, and we're back at the same page. So I would actually update using a USB or a SD card, and I put it in there with the software and update the MPC ONE PLUS. Now we also have update online. So you're running the latest version, so it already knows that. Now how does it know that I'm running the latest version? Because if I go here to Wi-Fi, and Wi-Fi will load up, and you'll see here Wi-Fi is on right there, right? And we have a green line that here means it's go, we're on there. And from this Wi-Fi sync point, it sees me online. Okay, I know it's you're online. I know this machine is online. Perfect. And that's how when you go to here, update, and you go here to online update, it knows what it is. It knows where I'm at. It's in Wi-Fi. It can see it automatically. Now this is our Activate Plugins page. We see eMusic Band's profile login. Now to log in, you'll need to get like an iPhone or whatever you got for a smartphone here, as you can see there. And I want to come here and press login. Now as I do, we'll get a QR code right here. See this code here? I need to go on here, get that code right. Once I can scan it in, there it is. And you see here it says AKAI Pro, right? I'm going to click on AKAI Pro once I get it again. So be careful. As you can see, it can be tricky. There it is. I hit AKAI Pro. It takes me to the website of AKAI Pro. It sees it right there. And now it's going to log me in. It's got to sign in. I'll use this here. I'll click right there. I'll see my name. It puts everything in there. And once it does, I'm in and I'm done. And now you'll see here, it's activating everything. Error receiving details. Go back to here. It's doing this thing right there. It's still doing it. And now I see to press. This is activating, 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 right? So it's deactivate now. These are all activating right now. Now as it does, I can see what's happening. I can also scroll up here. We'll see all the plugins I have right here. Some are trials that have come out. I haven't even activated some of these trials, but there's FlexBeat. There's Air. What's that? Jura Chorus, right, got it. Air Jura Chorus. We have the Air Flavor Pro, which I didn't use, but everything else is going to activate here. As you can see, everything's activating. I can deactivate now if I wanted to as well. Now if I have something I want to add onto here, put this in, MIDI. I already got that one, keep that in there. And now this is downloading information. And some may need downloading. If they do, I'm going to make sure they're downloaded. And once everything's done, you have activated all your plugins. The next page inside of Preferences is going to be Wi-Fi. I'll click on the Wi-Fi there. As I showed you before, from information, it's going to look for the Wi-Fi. I have it here. It's already been set up, so it's been on for some time. So once you turn your MPC One on and you already have the Wi-Fi locked in, there's no problem. It'll come back on again. If I want to disconnect the Wi-Fi, I can. I have other Wi-Fis here, of course, right? If I touch these, you'll see this one is still green. So the green here implies that this Wi-Fi is in sync with my 5G network. I can go to here, this button right here, and I can see more Wi-Fis in the area. A lot of Wi-Fis in the area where I'm at, so no need all that. The one I want to use is right here. That's it. If I want to disconnect it, I can from here. If I want to forget it, I don't need to see it, I can do that from here too as well. This is on, and this is off. That's how it works. That's our Wi-Fi page in Preferences. Now next, I want to look at the Ethernet. Click on Ethernet right here, and Ethernet is a way that I can plug a cable in here, and I'm on the internet. Now for our MPC One, there is no Ethernet. That's been removed. It's just Wi-Fi. If you have another MPC, it's pretty simple. Plug it in. It will automatically search for it. It will find it, and you're good to go. Next, we have Bluetooth. So when Bluetooth is on, our MPC can detect and communicate with other nearby Bluetooth devices. The currently supported peripherals are MIDI devices and quirky keyboards. So I always thought it would do a Bluetooth speaker, but it doesn't. So currently it's not set up for that. I would come and say on, it will look and search for these Bluetooth devices and find out where they are and sync to them. But it will not do Bluetooth speakers. I've had so many questions about that, but no. Great. So I'll turn this off. No need to have that, and we'll move on. That's our Bluetooth page in Preferences. So this is audio device right here in our Preferences. And here we have audio device, we have internal. If I turn my data wheel, that's all we've got. If I push the data wheel in, you'll see it's all we have here. I'll push the data wheel in again, and we're back here to our page for order device. And so if I had other order devices hooked up, I would see those in the audio device section. Now sometimes you may have a mixer like the Tascam 12 or the Tascam 24, and you would like to hook it up. And so internally here, we have 32 inputs and outputs if we use those devices. So I would come to here, and I would select that right there. And you'll see here it says, are you sure you want to restart your MPC? This will make 4 inputs and 8 outputs available. So I can restart it and I'd make those available for me. I don't need that. I'll come back to, I'll press cancel, and we're good to go. So if you need to actually go in that direction, you will just do that, then hook up your MPC to those devices. Now next, what I want to do is I want to go to MIDI sync. So I come to right here, below my device. Click right there, I'm on MIDI sync. Now here we have MIDI sync, as you can see here, this is input, and this is output. So here, this is for our MIDI ports. So you see this is MIDI. I may have input MIDI ports coming to the device, remote, MIDI, receive here, input. This is track. Right here is control, and here's global for global commands. Now the input, this displays all available MIDI input ports in a list. So you double tap the keyboard icon, which is right here, and I can rename that port, any port that's selected in the list that comes up. When global is enabled, MIDI data from the port will always go to the current track. Now, when control is enabled, MIDI data from this port will be sent to MIDI Learn, which is really cool to have MIDI Learn. That way, MIDI Learn will have it already locked in for you with MIDI Learn in the software. Now, this just enables it right here, right? So let's turn this off. So I just want to do track only, and the track is on right there. Now, the output here, which is the output ports, this displays all available MIDI output ports in a list. You double tap this icon again here. If you want to rename something, right? I may want to rename the remotes from whatever keyboard I'm using or a drum machine I'm using to for output, so I can output that device. And so I can enable it from that point. Now sync send below, which is right below here, I have enable ports and enable discovery. I can enable that. And I have MIDI control and MIDI output right here. So my MIDI controls from my MPC. I can come to here, open this up here. We'll see there or for remote, either one. Click on that again. Now next, what we have here is below here. We got some more below here, right? Here we go. And here we have sync receive. I can receive MIDI information or sync information into here, like MMC or MIDI timecode. So here I can put this to on or off. Let's click in here, our data wheel, and then we'll see here we have MIDI control, MIDI timecode, better known as MTC, and Ableton link. I can link with Ableton Live. I can run the software and link right with it. I'll keep this off currently. Now below here I can say stop and start sync. This way I turn Ableton on. It's a song pointer information. That means if I go to the middle of the song, it will go right there. So start from anywhere. Start, stop. I can also receive MMC from Ableton Live. Or just go here, turn this off, and from my current device, I can receive its MIDI machine control info as MIDI receive right here. Click this off. Now below here, we have send. And this is our sync send right here, this section. Let's go to here first. Go to off, push the data wheel in. We have MIDI clock, MTC, MIDI time code. That's off right here again. Now what's missing, of course, as you can see, is the Ableton Live sync, right? We don't need that. So here, we have frame rates too as well. I can send MIDI time code, MMC, MIDI machine control. I also have frame rates. I can set, this is 30 drop, I can go 25 or 24. Now frame rates are good when dealing with video. Awesome for that. Then this will give me my start time here for those frame rates. Now below here, let's go back to where it was at originally, 30 on drop, and come to here. Let's go further down. And we have here, this is our filter, all notes off CC. Filter my notes here. And this is the MIDI input. I want to filter some notes out. Then here we have change, program change actually. So I can come to here for the change. I can do program changes. I can do it from here. I can do it from the sequence, or I can do program changes from the track. I can change the programs. And this is our MIDI sync section of our preferences. It's important to notice, particularly when you have to use keyboards or another drum machine or another device someone brings over to your place or whatever, you must know how to sync these devices up. And this is a great way to do it. Now next, I want to look at the hardware setup for our MPC ONE PLUS. I'll come to here and I have my pad threshold. Now normally, most of us all use the normal setup, right? It's just normal, which is pretty cool. So I can change it to, if you want to, you come to here, pad threshold, you can see more force here at 16, and let's go up to 1, and the least amount of force is no problem too as well. You can test if you want to test it out, but I'm using normal. And the same for pad sensitivity. I'll come here, I'll click on pad sensitivity, I'll push my data wheel in, and now we can see we can go from 8, and we go here to 16. That's the most sensitive right there. And I go back to here, that's the least sensitive. Okay, so we see that. Then we have this curve. Now my curve is in D. I'm just doing this for demonstration. That's D, that's C, that's B, and that's A. And so A is the standard use of the pad curve. You can test these parameters out, and you may want to find something you might be used to. But I use 8's normal on the threshold and sensitivity, and A is good for the pad curve. Now below here you'll see something else. We'll see here we have velocity and we have aftertouch. And this is our pad response, right? So I hit a pad right here, you'll see as I tap the pad here, the response right there. Hit it harder, wow, it's like that. I hit hard, 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 hard. Now right here, this is our full force. This is force level. I go to here, if I tap it softly, or tap it hard or soft, it's still gonna give me the maximum velocity right there. I turn that off, I just tap it lightly, and see it does a little bit more, harder, 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 harder. I hit it real hard, it gets there. Now below here we have threshold. This is our level here for aftertouch, and it goes past the threshold level here. So for example, what I'm trying to say is I tap it at the threshold, it hit the threshold level, and now it responds. If I'm going up and I'm soft, hard, soft, hard, soft, hard, soft, hard, soft, hard. It's passing that threshold level. I release it, it's below it, I hit it to press it harder, it's over it. See that? And this is our pad sensitivity. How I can hold that pad down, it's sensitivity after touch. So it's velocity and sensitivity. Now below here, we have more going on. We have foot switches. Now if you got a foot switch, like a keyboard player, you can have 1 or 2 foot switches right here. It's pretty cool. Next we have screen dimming. So if I got the machine on for more than 5 minutes, it's gonna dim. And we have a parameter we can set here, and we have 1 minute, 2 minutes, go here to 1 minute, right? 1 minute right there, and then in 1 minute, this screen will totally dim out without any problem. Now I can also go here to daylight. I got screen brightness. I come to here and we got, what's that? Day and night. So you want to have a nighttime brightness and a day brightness right here. I guess you get that. So if I keep touching the screen, this thing won't dim. But once I stop for 1 minute, it will dim. I can do never too. Never dim the screen. But I prefer to have my screen to dim. I want to cut down on power source, make it easier for me to actually use it. Feeling like I'm not going to abuse my situation. Now next, below here, you'll see right below here we have tap tempo. Now sometimes I want to tap the tempo in. and you can tap your tempo in on your tap tempo button. If you strike it 3 times, it will take an average of that and say, okay, 3 strikes, that was about 86.2. And it'll display that in your main mode. And you will see, let's go back to main right here. And you will see it right here. This will change. If I tap my tap tempo now, and it's changed right there. I'll tap it again. And it changes again. Pretty simple stuff. To get back, I'd come to here, of course. I'd probably go to here like this. I'd probably just punch this in. And one more, and that's it, do it. And I'm back to where I started from. Then I want to go back to preferences. I always go to main. Back here to the top, home. Then I go to preferences right here, and I'm back where I started from. And that is this area right here, where we have tap tempo. Now I may want to also have that tempo light flash to the tempo timing, right? So I'll come to here, and the light on my tap tempo button will blink based on the BPM, which I find is pretty cool, actually. You should check it out. Now let's go below here next. Right below here we have our setup here, and this is for our bank button press. And this is general. So I have my bank button press here, right, for banks. So select A through D. Pretty simple stuff for banks. My bank buttons up here, right here. A, B, C, D. Now, we have Shift and Q-Link press cycles backwards. That's pretty simple. I never use that, actually. I have no need for that, actually, to cycle backwards. But if I want to, I can do that too as well. Now, here we have global pitch bend. So if I go to here, I want to pitch bend something, I want to set my pitch bend up, my parameters, I can do it here, and I can set in a range for it. Okay, I want to do global pitch bend rather than using a keyboard or something. I can set the range here to go 2. Now let's make it 5, and this will be 5 as well. You know, 5 right there. That's kind of cool. For me. For you, hopefully if you know how to use a pitch bend, you'll find a parameter that works for you. Let's scroll up here now. Now here we have our date and time. This is the current date. This is the current date. This is the month, and this is the year right now. And of course, we have our time. The time is 19, which is 17, which is actually, 19, which is 7, and this is 7:26. Now you see the time zone, Asia, Tokyo. I'm currently in Tokyo working. So you see that says Asia, Tokyo, I'm there. It's set for that time zone. And that's our hardware setup preferences menu in our MPC ONE PLUS. As I said before, when I actually went here to tap tempo, and I showed you the tapping, I'm going to show you the flash now. So here it says flash, tap, tempo, light. So this is on, and you see right down here in the lower right hand corner of this view, you see the tap tempo light there. I'll select none, it turns off. I'll select yes, and it turns on. And that's how that works. Now next, I want to go to sequencer here in my preferences window. And it's our sequencer page. And so here we have instant track mute, and we have play track mute and solo events, right? Which is kind of cool. So this is my standard way to run my MPC. I used to have old school, so I have the old school way of doing it. And so this is like off probably on yours. But I want instant track mute. So when I actually mute something, it cuts off. When I put it back on, it comes back on. I might have a little sample loop that I want to keep playing, but it's mute in and out of it, which is great. Now below here, we have recording. And I have record arm. That means arming this particular track to record. I can do single, right? And I can also do multiple tracks and record it upon, depending what my setting is right here. So I may keep this at multi most of the time when I'm working for my own projects. Then record track mute and solo events. That's in, keep that in. Record pad aftertouch events, definitely record that. and place events recorded during the count-in at the start point. If I get a count-in and I hit a little bit before the actual start of the sequence, and I hit it before that, it will place it on the very first beat. Don't worry about that. We have truncation, duration, to length, or to sequence length. That means if I'm going to play my beat and I might hit before it or after it, it's going to be truncated into that beat. That means we'll bring it in, whatever outside will not be played outside. Okay, now we go down to here. I'm going to scroll back up. Okay, we have some other things here. We have Q-Link swing control applies to settings on release. So I go to here. On release, those settings will be swinging back in. There's no problem with that. And I use swing control every now and then, so I will keep that on. Next, this is the PPQs. And that's pulse per quarter note. All right, so in this case, it's 96. That's good for everybody else. I myself prefer to have it at a different level here. I prefer it to be at, different levels here. Boom. 960 PPQs. And that's a lot per quarter note. And so the reason why I use this, sometimes I want to just put the quarter note just a little bit before, a little bit after. I like to have that humanistic feel and do that thing, I guess, that Jay Dilla did, the way 3000 works. And that's how I use this particular parameter. And this is in sequence on the MPC preferences. Now next I want to go to project defaults. Now my first option here is new project dialog, right? So I want to go with demo, template, or current sequence. So I've got a current sequence that'll come up every time I do my old sequence. I went to sleep, I get up, then that will load in here my most recent project. Next we have default tempo. This is a tempo that when I turn the MPC on and I'm not even working with it, it will have a 120 default. I don't care about that. It's okay. I will pick my tempo as I roll along. And I guess lately, I've been doing a different tempo. So I'm gonna do this right now so you guys will see it. I'll come to here and I want to say, open this up. I want to do 90s, my newest tempo this month. I'll say do it. And now that'll be my default tempo for the month. That sounds good? Now I can make that default global tempo. Now what this means is that I make a new sequence, every sequence will have the same tempo. If I hit this here, I make a new sequence, that'll be the same tempo. So everything will match the tempo that I have in my default tempo, if I want that. Or working on a project, I generally do. And then we have here, we have default sequence bars. So it's going to be 2 bars. I prefer 4. I come to here, I want to do 4 bars. Also it's 4. Do it. I got 4 bars. Default time signature numerator will be 4, and the denominator will be 4. Top and bottom. That's 4, 4. 4 beats to a measure, and you're good. And there are 4 beats to a measure. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I tap in terms of 4. It's in quarter notes. Excellent. Now, let's see if we can scroll back up here. We can, and we have more parameters here. And you'll see I have default pad slice. Pad. I make a slice, it's going to be on my pad. Default drum key group filter. My low pass 2-pole filter. This is the standard that comes with your MPC. My default plugin synth. Now I'm going to make this something else for me. I'm going to come to here. I'm going to see what they got for a list. Whoa, I got a lot of stuff here. This is the beauty of having a lot of plugins. I can pick what I want to use for my default plugin for my sound. So in this case, I probably want to use Fabric. Bam, I'll use Fabric XL. That's perfect for me right there. And I got my default settings signed up here, all lined up here for my project default settings. Now next, I'm going to go to my next one. This is going to be project load and save. Now I can load projects in and save them. So here, as you can see here, we have enabled this. Now, every 5 minutes, got this, it will save. I don't want that. I prefer it faster than that. So I prefer to save every 1 minute actually sometimes. And so in this case, also every 2 minutes is good enough for me. So every 2 minutes is good for me. Pick what you want for you. That's it. Now I have a template here. So I can find a template and put a template in place if I want to use a template every time I start a brand new project. But every project's different to me unless I want to do some sort of commercial idea. When I'm doing commercials, when I do that, then I'll have a different project. And that covers everything here, as you can see. Oops, no it doesn't. We got more to go. Next I have here record, export. So here we have recording, bit depth, 16-bit. We have include program volume, pan settings, bypass program effects plugins, and we can have audio tail. So I can have a little tail off, particularly when you got like a little reverb that's going to be at the end of it. You want it to die out, you get a little tail to it anyway. And here we have audio export, track. I can come to here, click on this. I can do track, program, I can do the main output. I prefer to export the main output, or I can do the program or track. So I can pick the track. Each track could be audio output, right? I can have each track be like a stem and use it in other software like maybe Pro Tools or Logic or Ableton Live or even Reason or Studio One. And then here, that's export. I got MIDI export. I can export the same way. MIDI track and sequence. That's it. Then I have the bit depth, which is right here, my bit depth. And here in bit depth, as you can see, it's either 16 or 24. I'll keep mine on 24. Now next below here we have general. This is general information, like for example, vintage mode, right? And this could be my main outputs to vintage mode. I'm not going to do that for main outputs. I'll essentially put that in when I want to put it in. But I could, if I want to, get a main output. So I can come to here, turn my data wheel. I can be an MPC 3000, an MPC 60, an MPC, oh, rather SP 1200. Or I can go to here and be SP 1200 with a ring to it, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 different settings for our vintage mode. Now I'll put 3000 there for now. And then here we have our audition autoplay. Now this is audition autoplay you have when you go to your settings will say in the browser, right? I can audition the autoplay. I can audition outputs. I can audition the Q view is here. And this is the slice view, right? Slice view, Q view. So Q view, slice view. And next below that we have here, this is our audio warp algorithm. So this is what we use in audio warping a sound. It gets to a tempo we say we like and we want to warp this sound out. I'll use this. In my warping videos, you know, you can go back to that and see that, but it's right here. So I get to there, we have a 10, Pro 10, we have basic, which is the least CPU usage. I prefer Pro 10 to get the most CPU usage, to get the best algorithm for audio warping. That's important for me. Love that totally. Now, underneath here we have something else. We sure do. Let's go back up to here. Good. You'll see here we have BPM detect range. So when you're warping something, you want to make sure it can detect if it can warp something really good. So that range could be from 195 to 80 to either 58. Now warping is cool, but sometimes it gets really bad when you warp too low. So warping should be done, I guess it should be no more than maybe 15 or so BPMs away from the original sound, I say, for me. Now, next we have here show mode shortcut panel. That's always good. And then we have here show Q-Link status when touched. Perfect. I touch it, I see the status like Q-Link. Have collect usage statistics. So it's good to collect usage statistics because with statistics we can send it right back to the company. We have the uses of this person's stats or statistics, so the company will see that. It'll send it back to them. So collect it is always good. And at times they may ask you to send it directly to AKAI by pressing a button, just to be kind. And here we have Splice, which I don't use Splice too much. I got my own samples, and I hate to have to use Splice because I don't want to use someone else's samples. But you can use Splice. If you are using Splice, there's your Splice button right here. You come to Splice, Right there, we'll see that. I got my name here, you got the internal storage, right? And you are logged into Splice. Boom. Check update, sync files. Nice and cool thing to do when you have Splice. Rather slice, no splice. Anyway, with Splice, that's how you do it. Any questions, hit me up, of course. I'm Dr. Sample Kings, and I'm making another new video next. But this one is important. This is about preferences. Gotta have the right preferences before you start making a beat and understand how your MPC preferences work.